Hey, it's Lauren from the Fun Morning Show, and I have probably talked about how much I love makeup just a couple times, and I do a lot of makeup on other people as well as myself, and this time, as you can see with my naked face, I'm getting my own makeup done by someone else today. My friend Whitney is here, and she is giving me a makeover. Hi guys.
What I'm doing to Lauren's face is what's called contouring, and what that does is it gives definition to the face where you otherwise might not have it. Right here in the cheekbone area, underneath the chin, you can do it a little bit at the temples too. It can tend to get a little experty though, so always work in small amounts so that you don't end up with a huge tiger stripe of orange or brown on the side of your face or anywhere else. All it does is add some real dimension to the face. This tube in my hand is eyeshadow primer. It's very, very important if you want your shadow to stay. Typically, if you just put eyeshadow straight on your eyelid, it'll probably crease within an hour or two, or shorter, depending on the formulation. But this really helps it to stay. It also improves the pigmentation a little bit. It makes it seem a little stronger and a bit brighter in some cases. With makeup and primers like this, you really do get what you pay for. The more you pay for something, the more likely it is to stay and the more likely it is to work due to the formulation of it. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do to Miss Lauren here. I'm going to apply this to her eyelids and it will help her eyeshadow stay. Is applied a little bit of eyeliner to Lauren's eyelashes, and the reason why I did that is because it defines the top lash line much better, especially if you work it into the lash roots, because it makes them stand out more, makes your eyes appear bigger. The same with curling your eyelashes. It'll make the eyes more open and appear larger and more awake. Very, very natural, very simple. It accentuates the best parts of her face, and it's good for the office, it's good for just any casual events, you know, running errands, things like that. And the second look, which we're going to go into shortly, is just a bump up from that. A little deeper on the eyes, a little deeper on the lip, so that you could go to a dinner out or a slightly more dressy event. And then the third look from there will be completely full-on glamour, evening, wonderfulness. Now to create this natural look on Loren, what I did was I applied a primer to her face. Again, like I mentioned before, primers are very, very important, but this is for your face. And what that does is it helps the foundation stay on longer, and it also applies much smoother. This one is a formulation for any redness in the face. It's actually a green color to correct any redness on the cheeks or anywhere that you might have a little more pigmentation than you'd like. Then next, I applied her a foundation with a foundation brush, which looks very similar to this, and it helps spread the product better. I also used my hands because I find that it warms the product as well and also helps it spread a lot easier. And then, as I explained before, I contoured her face lightly, her cheeks here, underneath her chin a little bit, and at her temples using this bronzer. A bronzer is very important for this step, simply because it's not too garish, it's not brown or something more severe. It's a nice warm tone of color. And you also want to do something matte in that regard because you don't want it to show up glittery in photographs or whatever you're doing, because that doesn't look natural. And in a basic look like this, you want it to look as natural as possible. Then I applied her blush right on her cheek, and then I kind of followed it back towards her hairline using this color here. Then I started on the eyes, and you remember this little guy here. That's her eyeshadow primer that holds on the eyeshadow and improves pigmentation, just like I mentioned. And then I used this palette right here. I started with this shade on the main part of the lid, close your eye, right here. And then I did this shade here to kind of fill in the contour of her eye, the socket line. That actually adds depth to the eyes and brings them out more in pictures and also in daily life as well. Then for her highlight, I used this color and then a little bit of that, and I put it here, right in the arch of her eyebrow, because that helps it stand out. And then underneath, I used the deepest shade here, because again, you want to bring out that lower lash line. And as I mentioned before, defining the lash roots is very, very important. You can use a pencil to do this or a liquid eyeliner like I used here. You just apply it very, very close to the lashes, and you don't have to wing it out or anything like that in a 1950s sort of style. You can just do a very simple line right across the lid, just like this. You can barely see it, but trust me, it adds a lot of definition. And then Miss Loren curled her lashes, again, to open her eyes up and make them appear brighter and more awake, and I applied this mascara on top and bottom. And also, another point of definition to note is the eyebrows. You always want to fill in your eyebrows because, again, you're doing your whole face and you want them to stand out as much as the rest of your face does. You don't want them to disappear into your hair or your hairline. You really want to tie the face together, and that's what defining the eyebrows does. And then for lips, just a simple pink lipstick, no liner or anything like that, just a simple wash of color, matte.